Surprise! We got your money. At least that's what EA is basically saying. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, well, EA is basically saying that loot boxes are ethical. They're okay. That loot boxes are Kinder eggs. You can find this information anywhere. Just Google EA right now, and it's all over the place. Oh my god, this is absolutely insane. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, and I've lost all faith at this point in EA. I'm sorry, but don't take my word for it. Let's actually take a look at some articles here. This first one is from Polygon. EA calls its loot boxes surprise mechanics, says they're used ethically. People like surprises, executive tells UK Parliament. Oh my god. By the way, listen, all these ads that are on here, oh dear god. A senior executive at Electronic Arts told United Kingdom's Parliament that the companies prefer to call loot boxes surprise mechanics. Oh my god, surprise, we got your money. And argued that their use in EA games is quite ethical and quite fun and enjoyable to people. I'm going to tell you right now, loot boxes are not fun. Go screw yourself, EA. Alright. Appearing before the House of Commons Committee on Wednesday, Kerry Hopkins, Vice President of Legal and Government Affairs at EA. Whoo! That's a title. That's a title. Imagine like you're working for a company and your company needs a Vice President of Legal and Government Affairs. Jesus. Responded to a member of Parliament who asked if the publisher had any ethical qualms about loot boxes. Their use of 2017 Star Wars Battlefront 2 kicked off a huge controversy that drew scrutiny from several governments, including those in the United States and Europe. Look, I'll be one to defend Battlefront 2 only because they made things a lot better. Yes, they started off with the whole loot box thing, and it wasn't going well for them. And then when the game actually got released, it released without the loot. Well, I should say it released without the pay mechanics. They still had loot boxes, but you didn't have to pay for them. Like, you got the loot boxes from in-game currency, which was atrocious to grind for, but you could grind for it if you wanted to. Since then, they have made the grind a lot better. But regardless, that did kick off the controversy. Loot boxes in the form of Ultimate Team Packs are also a major source of revenue for EA's FIFA franchise. Hopkins compared loot boxes to other products, Kinder Eggs, a chocolate treat with a toy in its center, and Hatchimals, a blind box-style toy hidden inside an egg. People like surprises, she said, but the comparison to Kinder Eggs was quite ironic, given that the chocolate eggs were banned in the US until recently over concerns the prizes were a choking hazard. Alright, let me tell you something really quick. Listen, when you open up a pack of trading cards or playing cards, it's almost like a form of gambling. It's almost like a form of loot boxes in and of itself. If you're buying Magic the Gathering card packs and you're opening them up, or you're buying Dragon Ball Super card game, or Pokemon, or you collect basketball, baseball, football cards, whatever, it's a gamble what's going to be inside the packs. So yes, Hatchimals and all that stuff, like, yes, it is similar to loot boxes, but here's the difference. Here's the biggest difference between them. And the biggest difference is that they are physical items versus digital items. So if they decide to close the game down, you lose everything that's in the game. Like, you don't keep it because it's digital. It's not a physical item that you can hold in your hand. It's not like I don't have any cards in front of me. They're all in my closet back there. But it's not like, I open up a booster pack and I have like a super ultra rare card in here. But it's a physical thing. Like, I physically have the card in my hand. Nobody can take it away from me unless somebody actually steals it from me. So that's the difference between that. Like, you're gonna say that people like surprises. Yes, that's not wrong that people like surprises. People do like surprises, but what people don't like is getting ripped the freaking hell off. That's what people don't like. We do think the way we've implemented these kinds of mechanics is quite ethical and fun, and quite fun, she said. They aren't gambling, and we disagree that there's evidence that shows they lead to gambling. The British Parliament is investigating loot boxes over concern that they constitute gambling and the harm and potential harm that could cause to children, citing anecdotal evidence and research that call loot boxes addictive. Listen. You're targeting children. You're targeting minors. When you're targeting minors, that makes it wrong. That is unethical practices when you're targeting minors. Okay? In the United States, a minor cannot even walk into a casino floor. They are not allowed. If you are a minor and you're caught on the casino floor, they will kindly escort you out. Okay? I know for a fact because when my wife and I first started dating, I was 18, she was 17. We were at the Hard Rock Casino because my family was staying there. And I was allowed to be on the casino floor. My wife wasn't because she was underage. She was a minor. They ID'd her and they asked her to leave. They said that she couldn't be on the casino floor. So I left with her. You know, if that's not allowed, then loot boxes, which is gambling, it's a form of gambling, should not be allowed to minors. Now you could say, okay, well, with that kind of thought process, what about things like Hatchimals and trading card packs? Well, again, you know, you're getting physical things in it, and it's common knowledge that when you open up a trading card pack, or a booster pack or whatever, you're usually guaranteed to get a rare card at least. So, and they tell you everything is on the cover. You know, it's like you're guaranteed to get a rare card, whether what you want or not. It's a whole nother story, but yes, it does constitute a form of gambling. But the way I see it is most of the people who buy those don't do it for gambling purposes. It's not a pay to win situation. It's more of a collection type of deal, where a lot of these situations for loot boxes tend to be pay to win aspects. You know, like the Ultimate Team packs and various gacha games, you know, they're pay to win scenarios. So that's where it comes into play. Like I'm okay with certain microtransactions because I understand that companies got to make their money. And so when it comes to microtransactions such as skins or cosmetic items in the game, I don't really care. It doesn't affect the game. As long as they're not in a form of loot boxes. You know, if it's like you're like, for example, I tend to go to League of Legends for this. So League of Legends, a new skin drops. So if you want to buy the new skin, you can buy the new skin. You can spend money and buy the skin. It's not in a form of loot boxes. You're buying what you want. So you're not getting ripped off. You're not like buying for a chance to get what you want. You're buying what you want, which then takes away from the whole gambling aspect of it because you get what you pay for. Whereas various other games, specifically mobile games, mobile gacha games, you are paying for a chance at getting something, which is gambling. That is 100% gambling, and the house always wins. It always wins. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. When you're playing a slot machine, the house always wins. So anyways, let's scroll down. Loot boxes, microtransactions, and pay-to-win mechanisms have come under mainstream scrutiny over the past year. A bill to regulate them died in Hawaii's legislature, but a Republican senator recently introduced a bill with bipartisan support that would prohibit loot boxes in games marketed to or played by children. Loot boxes have been linked to gambling, a comparison that Electronic Arts and Entertainment Software Association dispute. Let's keep going. In 2017, New Zealand regulators researched the same conclusion. However, in 2018, countries like Belgium and the Netherlands found that loot boxes in games like Counter-Strike, Global Offense, Dota 2, and Overwatch were a form of gambling. Developers Blizzard and Valve modified their games to comply with the regional regulations. Other nations such as South Korea, China, and Japan have started regulating loot boxes too. EA statements may raise eyebrows, but they're unsurpassing given the company's history on the issue. EA pushed back Oh, not unsurpassing. Unsurprising, I'm sorry. EA pushed back hard on the Belgian Gaming Commission when it ruled that loot boxes constituted unregulated gambling, but still decided to stop selling FIFA points and microtransactions in its FIFA soccer series in that country. Well, it's not that they decided to, they had to. That's, that's completely different. If it was up to them, they wouldn't have stopped. But the Belgian Gaming Commission, which banned loot boxes, forced EA to remove that, remove the FIFA points, because what are they going to use the FIFA points for if there's no loot boxes? So, Parliament members on the committee have not announced any plan to regulate loot boxes in the UK as of now. So, if we go over here to Wired, here's another article. Electronic Arts says that loot boxes are basically Kinder eggs. I mean, basically, it's the same article. It's the same article. You can find it everywhere. Surprise! You just spent $100 looking for the premium character costume. Isn't this wholesome? The controversy over loot boxes, randomized, buyable collections of in-game content continues this week with a hearing in the UK Parliament wherein representatives from EA and Epic Games were forced to answer questions about loot boxes, in-game addiction, and what Prince Harry thinks about Fortnite. I don't care about that. That's kind of stupid. What it comes down to, and I had this discussion with somebody on one of my live streams. I was playing FF7, which is a gacha game, which has gambling. I was having this conversation with somebody in the live stream because what happened was that this person admitted to spending $600 and not getting the character they wanted. And my rebuttal was, you need to know your limits. You need to know when to stop. $600 is way too much money to spend in a game like this that is not anything physical. It's all digital. If they close the doors on the game, you lose everything that's in there. And you just threw $600 away to get a chance to get a character that you didn't even get. I felt bad for the person, but at the same time, I told them you did it to yourself. But at the same time, I urged the person that, look, maybe you should seek some help, because obviously if you went and spent $600 on a mobile gacha game in one sitting, maybe you have a little bit of a problem. Maybe you have a little bit of addiction, and that you should maybe step away from playing these type of games, and maybe you should seek some help. Now, I don't know how old this person is. I don't know where he got the money from, or she got the money from. I don't know. I don't know any of those details. All I know is that a person like that spent that much money in a gacha game for a chance at getting the character and didn't get it. They gambled $600 away on a mobile game. That's excessive. That is excessive, and it should not be happening at all. At all. Let's check out Kotaku really quick, because they reported as well. Our loot boxes are actually surprise mechanics that are quite ethical. Like, that's the headline everywhere. Everywhere. Given that 2017 Star Wars Battlefront 2 is broadly considered the tipping point of an anti-loot box conversation that has recently led to loot box bill in the United States Senate, you might be forgiven for thinking that EA games have loot boxes. Not so, says the VP of Legal and Government Affairs. That such a title. Look, like I said, all of the articles are basically the same. You can just Google EA loot boxes in news today, and that's what's going to pop up. It's a problem. It is a problem. It's a problem we've discussed on this channel. It's a problem that we've discussed on the live streams. It's a problem that I've discussed on Twitter with other content creators, with other people who play these type of games. And some content creators, their rebuttal is, well, companies got to make their money somewhere. And I understand, and they follow that up with, would you pay for a game that's $80 to $100 if they didn't have microtransactions? And my response is, if it's a good game, yes, I will. I freaking paid $200 for that Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition. $200. You know why? Because the game is fantastic. That's why I spent that money. I spent $100 and where is it? where? Oh, they're right next to the Resident Evil Collector's Edition. I spent 100 and I think it was like $120 or something like that on the Persona 5 Collector's Edition. Each one. Why? Because they're fantastic games. They're fantastic games. So yes, I would pay that kind of money. I do regularly spend $80 to $100 on video games that are good games that I don't have to worry about DLC or microtransactions in the game. Some of them do have DLC and microtransactions, but a lot of times some of those games actually give them for free. Like they have DLC and they put it in for free. Case in point, Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 Remake had DLC and it was free DLC. Atelier Lulua, which is a recent game that I've been playing, I bought the collector's edition, $100 for the collector's edition. It had free DLC. If you go onto the Nintendo Switch store, if you go onto the PlayStation 4 store, right there is free DLC, free add-on content, free costumes, free. There are some things that you can buy if you want to, but nothing changes the game. Nothing is major for game changer. Now some of the things that are in the game, sometimes they do have DLC, and I'm not going to say that all DLC is bad because some of it is really good. My problem with DLC has always been that if the DLC is actually on the game, basically you're paying money for a game you already have again, where other DLC is content that they have been developing and added on later, and then it has to actually download and update your files in your system to add the DLC onto your game. You know, I don't mind paying for good DLC. Case in point, Fallout 4 Far Harbor was good DLC to pay for because it was massive. It added a ton of content to the game, and it was great, and I loved it. So I'm okay with spending more money in games if they don't have microtransactions. And I guarantee that a lot of people would actually be okay too. Because what it comes down to is when you have microtransactions, especially in the form of loot boxes, you're going to spend more money than what you would have if the game released $100 and didn't have that kind of microtransaction predatory practices in there. So, you know, and a lot of people will say, but if loot boxes go away, the mobile games that you play might go away too. And my response is always, fine, I don't care. If they disappear, better. That's better because then, people can get away from playing those type of games. There's plenty of good mobile games out there that aren't filled with loot boxes. And you would have to pay for those mobile games. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyways, guys, I'll leave that to you. Let me know how you guys feel about this whole situation down in the comment section. Let's have that conversation. I love having these conversations with you guys. It means a lot when you do interact with it. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. All that fun stuff. And I'll catch you all in the next video. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out, guys.